Yesterday evening, me along with my family was watching an event of Oscars 2023, and we were delighted that India bagged 2 Oscars. Yeah, and well, in the evening, when we were watching the entire event, we came to know that Brendan Fraser, one of our very favorites, if you recall, Mummy, the handsome hunk, one of the very good-looking actors, bagged Best Actor award in Oscars 2023 in the Best Actor category. And at first instance, when I saw the clip of that movie being played, and we all were like awestruck. Oh my God, Brendan Fraser! It was very difficult to identify him. Is it really Brendan Fraser? So fat. We realized, we learned that he was wearing a prosthetic suit of 300 pounds. That's basically I think approximately 136 kilos of that prosthetic suit, wherein he looks very plump. As we all understand, he didn't get an Oscar for wearing prosthetic suit. The point which I am referring to is basically the great actors, the great performers are those who are able to do full justice with the character they are playing in. Actually, get so much immersed into that particular character that it becomes very effortless for them, and they live the character. They live the character, and able to win a lot of accolades when it comes to doing justice. And people say, "Oh my God, you are a great actor," because you exactly look, sounded, behaved, exuded that kind of essence when it comes to playing that particular character. Yes, but great actors don't live in that particular character. When the project gets over, when the movie is over, when the shoot is over, yeah, they quickly decondition from themselves, from that particular character, from that particular avatar they are playing in. It's done now. Now they're looking at new character, they're looking for a new project. They're quickly able to let go of that particular thing. And if at all anybody is not able to get over that particular character which they played, and then I think then it's a point of concern. It's a matter of concern. That's what I call is being meditative, an ability to snap your mind, an ability to let go the role you're playing in, the mask you're wearing in, which is a demand at certain situation of time as a part of your personal or professional life. You have to play that particular role, right? So you have to let go and quickly get into that, because unless you don't let go that, you cannot actually embrace the new role. It's like an analogy of water. Plain water, colorless water, you put a drop of any color and that particular water, colorless water, becomes, say, blue drop blue. If you put red, red. But if you put blue drop in red color water, then you won't get pure blue water, right? So you need to quickly let go that earlier color, that earlier role, and then be fresh, and then you have to embrace that and quickly. It is said, we are born every day. With every sunrise, we are born every day. But are we really born every day when it comes to psychological birth? No, unfortunately, most of us not. Because we get hooked on, we get conditioned to that particular psychological identities. Maybe as a father, as a son, as a team player, maybe as a client, maybe it could be anything for that matter. And it is very much needed to play that role, but then we should not be getting confused in mixing up all those roles, and we should know at the back of all the roles and at the back of all the masks which are wearing, because every mask has its own importance. I'm not against the mask. Behind every mask, you know what you are. You call it as pure energy, pure observation, or whatever you call it. That's what it is. Yeah. So that is one thing. Now, keeping all this. And one more example I would like to give you here, because that is one of the very famous movies, and I think most of us would have gone through that. I saw that 2 decades ago. It was Terminator Part 2, Judgment Day. If you recall the last scene, the machine which had come to terminate Arnold Schwarzenegger, yeah, and the last scene where you will see that villain, that machine actually is thrown into huge, tremendous, intense fire. And you will see he's trying to escape from that. He's rising with all those roles he has played as a machine. So that's what we are gifted with an ability to play any given role. But the thing is, we should know that we are not the role. We are not any role. It could be the best role. I mean, people appreciate you for that role. That is a risk, because when people appreciate you for that role, you start thinking that you are that role, but you are not. Yes, definitely when you're playing that role, you are that role. For example, the observer and the observed. Now, physically, the observer and that which is observing are two different things. Obviously, suppose you are looking at something kept on wall. It could be beautiful, wall hanging. So that particular wall hanging and that particular poster or anything you are looking at, that is not you. You are separate from that. But in that given room, when 10 different people are looking at the same portrait or the same wall hanging, when you ask different people what they perceive, what they look at, not necessarily that everybody is going to give the same response. Somebody may say something about that portrait, somebody may say something different about that portrait. It means what? Psychologically, the observer, the person, that particular person, what he is observing is the same, because he is projecting his own perspectives, his own observation, because of the education system, because of the upbringing, whatever he's been taught, he's learned about that particular thing. He's just projecting that. So psychologically, the observer and that which is observed is not separate. It is the same thing. And when it is the same thing, now we are then when it is the same thing, then it is a kind of a limitation. That becomes a thought. Thought in sense, that becomes an image. We are conditioned. Our design, human design, is as such. The mental design, psychological design is as such that we are good in making images. We live by making image, right? When you think of patriotism, you will get certain image. When you think of loyalty, you will get some image. When you think of some villain, you will get some image. So be it good image or be it bad image, we are good in making images, and we live in image. Unfortunately, most of the time, the relationship, be it any personal relationship or professional relationship, is between these two images. You have certain expectation from that particular image, that role, and you are that particular role which is expecting that image, and is between that. So naturally, there would be conflict, because there is a limitation for it. It's limited. And that which is beyond all those things, if only the observation, that energy is infinite. It is beyond any limit. So is it possible, ladies and gentlemen, is it possible, first of all, to quickly recognize the conditioning we are in, why we form images? Definitely there is a comfort in forming image. Definitely when it comes to knowledge, we require thought, we require knowledge, technical knowledge. Now we can't be like a dead vegetable. Suppose you want to go to office, I should know where my office is located. Then otherwise, it will be very difficult. But why I should make an image psychologically, that if someone is flattering me or maybe seemingly insulting me by making me feel belittled, why? I should not make an image. I should quickly let go. So I have a choice. When we say all those big things, choice, what comes to my mind, my heart is, choice is basically an ability to snap your mind and be the presence, the divine presence. This presence cannot be, doubted. It's the fact, it's the truth. Presence. You are present, I am present. Yeah. What you think, what I think is a different story. You as a person, me as a person is a different story. But the divine presence, you and me, could be a common denominator. Yeah, is something which we cannot deny, we cannot decline this truth, this fact. Right? So we have a choice. Either we can choose to continue as a person. Now, which person? You need to know. Multiple persons, right? Multiple people, multiple personalities. Yeah. Or the divine presence, which is so pure, pristine, and can see all those different persons in him, and uses that person at given situation, at given time, at given set of people, so that he can achieve that particular objective, why he is there. So person versus presence, we always have a choice. And when we have the choice, it's basically, if you call that presence as, the divine energy, or energy for that matter. So what are the properties of energy? Energy cannot be created, not destroyed. It keeps on changing. It keeps on transforming itself. When you are with energy, when you choose to be an energy, not a particle, not a person, but the presence or energy, then slowly your brain, such a beautiful design, such a divine design, it gets into that properties of energy. Then you will not feel sad or insulted to the extent that you are thrown into depression or hatred towards someone, so that you can commit certain crime, some heinous acts or something. You may be getting a little angry, or some, it's like an ant bite kind of in that moment. And if you are honest, you may even express. People are smart. They are trained in that way, that they are very smart in suppressing the anger, and they find ways to venting out. But people like maybe me are very transparent. Then and there, they just vent it out, and it's fine. But their basic nature is basically the true love. They are love. And it's okay if people talk something, good or bad about you. That's okay, no problem. But choose your innate nature. And that innate nature is energy. And if you ask me, the innate nature of that energy, as per my experience as a kid, spiritual kid, is that, it seeks expansion because it's infinite. It seeks love because its basic property is love. Selfless, compassionate love. Where there are no borders, forget about genders, but forget about the beings. Every being could be living, could be not living, life force. He's into that. He's friendliness, not just, friendship, friend. He's friendliness. It's like sunlight. So he is into joy of himself. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, keeping this in mind, whatever the roles we play, and the observer is the observed, which you need to, if you are looking at that kind of clarity, then you have to self-realize, you have to self-experience that, what is the observer, what is the observed, because it's very easy, when it comes to spiritual quest, to get into that witnessing, borrowed knowledge, or being sakshi, and you think, I'm sakshi, I'm a witness, and I'm neither this, I'm nor that. But is it your experience? Because practically, the observer is the observed. What you are calling sakshi, many times you get fooled by that particular word or that particular construct or concept, which you need to understand that psychologically, you're always, the observer is the observed, and we have to focus in observation. And you are rooted into observation, not into any image, then that's the real sakshi, then that's the real witnessing. Then there is no duality. Then there is ending of the conflict, because you are moving from finite to infinite, from measurable to which is immeasurable, and it's a quantum leap. And what is this? So keeping that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, book reading series. This is the 77th book in our book reading series. I don't know whether I should call it book. There's a plethora of books. From Jiddu Krishnamurti, the person whom I really adore, love, I listen to, and I feel quite coherent with whatever his teachings are. It clicked to me more than 2 decades ago, and I felt yes, he's the one. He's the one. So in this book, The Transformation of Man, he has touched upon. Though you can listen to him on YouTube, there are n number of videos. He's talking about total freedom, meditation, and then the benediction is where you are. Even Kabir says wherever you are, that's an entry point. You know how to change your attire, you know how to change your place, or maybe profession to realize spirituality. And for God's sake, spirituality is not limited to the people who are so-called spiritualists. It's for you. It's for me. We all are spiritual beings having human experience, not human beings having spiritual experience. So spirituality is not some mumbo jumbo kind of thing, or arduous thing, and it's meant only for us. Some people who are living that life, wearing certain kind of attire, or maybe they are living in kind of celibacy, or some kind of solitude. It's for for laymen, for married people, for people like you and me. So he's talking on God, on relationship, on fear, freedom, living and dying. Can humanity change? You know, and then to be human, the ending of time, the network of thought, and there are certain questions, you know, the life in oneself, the meditation, mind without measure. The first step is the last step, or timeless spring, lot many things. So I'm not going to get into the book. You can listen to his talks, but I have this habit, whatever you call it, of sharing my own experience. मैं हमेशा अपनी आप बीती बताना पसंद करता हूँ, instead of the inexperienced borrowed knowledge coming from anywhere, could be net or books or from any person. That's what. And I feel we should not look into someone else's eyes when it comes to some kind of certificate, whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong. Even if someone says contradictory or just opposite to your behavior or your own achievements when it comes to spirituality or maybe otherwise, just take it as a pinch of salt. Just take it as a pinch of salt. Because especially when it comes to your spiritual accomplishment, you know who you are. If you are at peace, you are there. Yeah. People know you just based on your responses. That's it. Yeah. Maybe some people who know you since more than 20, 30, 40 years, maybe your spouse, maybe your parents, up to a certain extent, they know your purity, they know your honesty, they know your behaviors. Yeah. But even in that case, it's you, only you know who you are. It's between you and yourself. So one of the yardsticks is if any thing happens, maybe extreme situation where there is a lot of mental chaos. Yeah, could be flattery or could be so-called psychological insult or anything. You know. When you know that you react, but you know very quickly you are able to let go effortlessly, and you choose love and you live love. You are at peace. You are there. That's it. Khalas. Simple. Second, when it comes to different emotions, say sexual craving. If you don't have that kind of a craving, you are no more slave to it. Yeah. Then you know that you are there. You are home. Yeah. You are at peace. Maybe you can test yourself. You may be at a certain city or maybe a certain situation, place, where you are surrounded with all those easily accessible, all ready-made, available kind of things, but still you choose to be just pure love, compassionate, and you don't want to indulge into that. Then you are a master, you are not a slave to it. It means you are there. You are there. Not I'm talking some biological deficiency or disorder that not you are able to do that particular act. It could be sexual act, biological natural act, but you know that you can do it, but still you choose not to indulge to that. Then you are a master, you are not a slave. There you are. If you know how to use that energy, which is the same energy, sexual energy or energy, I call it energy, that particular name to that energy. Simple. A painter using the same energy, a scientist using the same energy, a doctor is using the same energy, a trainer is using the same energy, a leader is using the same energy, a warrior is using the same energy. The energy is the same. The energy is the same. Yeah. When the energy, as per your desire, suppose you want to have an ice cream, is the same energy. When you want to indulge in sex, you want to make love, it's the same energy. You are thinking of making some strategy, some strategic move when it comes to business management. It's the same energy. So you know where to use that energy and where not to overuse that energy, how to save that energy. And if you ask me, we leak energy because we are caught up into an image, different images which are limited, which are finite, which leads to conflicts. When we choose and you transcend all those images and you live into that state, pristine state, yes, images are coming and going, that's fine, no problem. It's like an environment. Outside you see things are going and coming, the leaves are falling, for example, traffic vehicle traffic, the cars, two-wheelers, they are moving, people are moving. When you're in a marketplace, you see a lot of chaotic things. That's okay. You cannot stop it, but you can change the way you're looking at them. Same is your inner climate. of your thoughts and emotions. When you start observing and you choose observation, then slowly the traffic will diminish. But don't expect that traffic should diminish. It's okay, that's fine. It's fine, no problem. Yeah. So, कहते हैं सोच बदलो सितारे बदलेंगे, नज़र बदलो नज़ारे बदलेंगे, यूं कश्तियों को बदलने से कुछ नहीं होगा, दिशा को बदलो किनारे बदलेंगे. It's actually very profound. It takes sometimes a lifetime to realize this and start living this. And let me remind you once again, it's just between you and yourself. We are here for our own clarity, evolution. And definitely when we meet some people in life, could be personal or professional, we meet for some reason. Maybe they need you a little push, or maybe you need a little push from them. And many times these people are seemingly different. You can't just expect that the person is so-called spiritual and only you are going to listen. Maybe he's very different and he's there to enable you. I prayed for not getting feared, and God gave me a situation where there is a lot of fear, and then we have a choice to overcome that fear. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. Thank you very much.